Good afternoon all, and welcome to today's presentation, The Virtual Vacation, A Voyage Through Vietnam. My name's John Gunning and I'm part of the Azure Answers team. I'd like to thank first and foremost all the travel advisors who are joining us today, and also their past clients, their future clients, people who just generally love travel, and friends and family. For the next 40 minutes or so, we're going to take you on a virtual vacation through Vietnam. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride, as they say. Of course, we know the world has changed. Back in March this year, obviously we all went into lockdown in regards to COVID-19 and the coronavirus. What we did learn very quickly, though, people that were traveling or people who had plans to travel in the near future, those who had booked with a travel advisor were able to get their answers quickly and were also able to get their changes made quickly as well. Of course, those who were ringing up big box stores took a little bit longer. So what we realized straight away, booking with a travel advisor is the way to go when you're considering making a trip around the world, or even maybe just across the pond, so to speak. A travel advisor brings so much. It's peace of mind to the booking. It's great customer service. It's maximizing your budget. It gives you better choices, saves time, and what I love is personal service. Isn't it great when you can actually ring somebody and know that you're going to speak to a human? They give insight and expertise, document assistance, consumer advocates, and of course they have industry contacts. So that was very important when all this happened, people who had industry contacts and the people that they could talk to straight away so they could get the ball rolling to make necessary changes. So if you're considering a trip anywhere in the world, talk to your local travel advisor because I'm sure they will lead you on the right path. Now, today's presentation and our virtual discovery today is all about Vietnam. Many of you will know where Vietnam is in this great world of ours, in Southeast Asia. There's around about 200 countries around the world with various sovereign states and the likes. Vietnam itself, as you can see, Southeast Asia, and it is a country that runs from north to west, okay, so a vertical country. So you get a great topography overview, and also you get various climates spread throughout Vietnam as well. Obviously, it is a tropical destination, though. Now, travel experiences in Vietnam range from hilarious to haunting. Hilarious, crossing the street in a sticky rice formation through an onslaught of motorbikes in Hanoi or Ho Chi Minh City. Or haunting, gazing over a surreal seascape of impossibly picturesque limestone islands from a boat in Halong Bay at sunset. Vietnam is a country of many historic influences. Down south, Indian and Hindu culture is evident in the Cham temples, and spicy regional cuisine spiked with chili and tempered with coconut up north. Chinese influence is far more apparent. Quintessential Vietnam is found in the central provinces, the graceful historic old port of Hoi An, and places such as Hawaii and Da Nang. Of course, there are royal tombs, pagodas, and imperial cuisine spread throughout all of the country, but you'll see many of the most famous in the areas such as Hue. Adding to the mix is an enduring French colonial legacy, which is evident in Hanoi's elegant boulevards and also in areas such as Hanoi's Opera House. And of course, let's not forget about the crispy baguettes and coffees that are on every street corner. Not to overlook the food, delicious beyond all description. Now, every country around the world has some weird, wonderful, fun facts. Vietnam is no different. Vietnam is the world's largest cashew nut exporter, producing 30% of the world's cashews. Next time you go to Costco or the equivalent, or a Fred Meyer or a Ralph's, depending on where you live, somewhere in the Kroger brands, pick up a box of cashews, have a look, and you'll most likely see that they were brought in from Vietnam. I did it just recently when I bought some cashews from Costco. They came from Vietnam. And second, it is the second largest producer of rice in the world. Vietnam has also a high level of biodiversity. It is home to approximately 16% of the world's species. So great diversity in regards to the flora and fauna that you'll see throughout the country. Vietnamese people love tortoises. Weird, wonderful. They believe that they are bringing luck and health. That makes sense. They admire longevity of turtles and believe that keeping tortoise shells at home will prolong their lives as well. Vietnam itself is famous for weird drinks. Snake wine is popular in Vietnam. A whole snake or scorpion is put in a bottle and rice is poured over it. The best liquor is from a venomous snake. Its venom is detoxified by the ethanol, so it is harmless. This wine can allegedly cure any illness. Now, what I really loved about Vietnam was the rich coffees in the morning. Now, this Vietnamese egg coffee is a tablespoon of Vietnamese dark roast coffee, 3/4 of a cup of boiling water, 3 tablespoons of condensed milk. That's very much a key in any coffee throughout Vietnam. 1 teaspoon of sugar, and then vanilla if you'd like, and then 2 egg yolks. I can tell you, it gives you that nice little zing in the morning, and then you also got that good protein nutrients with the egg yolks as well. Now, for those that are interested in looking at nature, Vietnam is also home to the world's largest cave, Sun Dung. As you can see here by this shot, just look at the people walking in and along the creek bed, how small they are in regards to the arch of the cave itself. Although Vietnam is considered a developing country, it has a literacy rate of 94%. I have a good friend who actually works in Ho Chi Minh City as a teacher, and he says their education is quite outstanding and continues to grow. And it is estimated 10 million motorbikes travel on the roads of Vietnam every day. It is definitely the mode of transport chosen by locals to get around everywhere, big city, little city, towns and that. Now, check out this guy. The Vietnamese also believe and keep potbelly pigs as pets. Now, you can tell that this guy has been well loved. Just look at how well he's been fed. That little bit of an undertow that he's got going there, quite healthy for sure. So everybody in the family obviously loves this guy. It is also the world's first gold-plated hotel opened in Hanoi, Vietnam, which features golden cutlery, cups, shower heads, toilet seats, and a 24-carat infinity pool at a cost of around about $300 million. It doesn't matter if you're lying on the deck of the infinity pool or sitting down doing your business. There's gold-plated everywhere in this beautiful Dulce Hanoi Golden Lake Hotel. And it's not too bad. It's very reasonable. I think it's about $200 to $300 a night. So it's something a little bit different and something you may want to try if you're in Hanoi. Vietnam itself is located on the eastern margin of the Indochina Peninsula and shares land borders with 3 countries. We have China to the north, we have Laos to the west, we have Cambodia to the southwest, and then, of course, we have a number of different river systems and capitals as well. The capital being Hanoi, which is home to around about 1.5 to 2 million people. Vietnam is an S-shaped country and has north to south distance of around about 1,000 miles. Now, in its shallowest point across the country, running from east to west, you're only looking at about 35 miles. Its highest point is Phan Saipan, whose summit reaches around about 10,300 feet. Vietnam is a country of tropical lowlands, rolling green hills, and densely forested mountains. The Red River, Song Hong, and the Mekong are the most significant rivers. Both have numerous tributaries, and the Mekong is among the great rivers of the world. The Mekong Delta is a low-level plain, one inundated by hundreds of small rivers and canals. Thick jungles and mangrove swamps cover the far southern areas of land. The history of Vietnam is all about the invasions and the tireless Vietnamese resistance. Some historians believe that had US politicians studied Vietnam's history of dogged resistance to the end, they would have voted against going to war. Backing it up, in the 2nd century BC, the Chinese conquered and ruled northern Vietnam for around about 1,000 years. In 938 AD, Vietnam defeated the Chinese and North Vietnam became an independent state. In South Vietnam, there was Indian influence. Over the next 800 years, the Mongols invaded Vietnam 3 times and the Chinese invaded once. In the late 19th century, Vietnam became a French colony. The French built infrastructure in Vietnam, such as the Saigon to Hanoi Railway. They also built roads and bridges. However, the building was funded by heavy taxation. Naturally, the Vietnamese wanted independence. The communists spearheaded the struggle for independence, and in 1945, Ho Chi Minh declared Vietnam independent and fought a guerrilla war against the French until they surrendered. In the north, Ho Chi Minh introduced a communist regime, whilst in the south, Ngo Dinh Diem became ruler. In 1959, the North Vietnamese began a long guerrilla war to reunite Vietnam under communist rule. The North guerrillas were known as the Viet Cong. By December 1965, there were 183,000 US soldiers in Vietnam, and by the end of 1967, there were nearly 500,000. However, the Viet Cong continued their guerrilla war, and in January 1968, the Viet Cong launched the Tet Offensive in towns and cities across South Vietnam. They suffered heavy loss, but afterwards the Americans gradually withdrew from Vietnam. In January 1973, they signed a ceasefire and the remaining American troops withdrew. In 1975, the North Vietnamese captured Saigon. Vietnam was reunited under communist rule, where it remains today. However, its thriving capitalistic economy would make it unrecognizable to Ho Chi Minh. Arriving into Vietnam, you have a number of different options. One of our preferred partners at Azure Answers is EVA Air, which flies via Taipei and Taiwan. It has all the modern classes of service, and you may even be fortunate enough to follow on one of their signature planes, the Hello Kitties, on one of their 777s. It doesn't matter where you're seated, you're going to have Hello Kitty all around you. Another great option is to fly via Hong Kong on Cathay Pacific, an award-winning airline which has all the modern conveniences from business class, premium economy, through to economy with wall-to-wall entertainment. However, when you are considering Vietnam, you must consider where you want to go, what time of year you want to go, and what you want to see whilst you're there. Being 1,000 miles long, Vietnam has multiple climatic zones. Overall, the best time to visit Vietnam is February to April, and autumn, August to October. The temperature are more moderate and rainfall is lighter, and that's throughout all of the country. In spring, March and April, they have the lowest rainfall across all destinations, and temperatures are pleasant, though still cool in the far north, and warmer clothes often are required if you are in the mountains. Vietnam is one of the least religious countries in the world, with only 20% of its population claiming to be religious. Having said that, religion as defined by shared beliefs and practices remains an integral part of real Vietnamese life, dictating the social behaviours and spiritual practices of Vietnamese people. Practically all Vietnamese, regardless of former religious affiliation, have an altar in their home or business. These offerings and practices are done frequently during important traditional or religious celebrations. This would be like a death anniversary, the starting of a new business, or even when a family member needs guidance or counsel. Respect local dress standards for sure, and that's anywhere in the world. Shorts to the knees, women's top coverings, the shoulders, particularly at religious sites, and always remove shoes before entering a temple. The traditional Vietnamese form of greeting is to press your hands together in front of your body and bow slightly. They often say no public displays of affection as well. Leaving a pair of chopsticks sitting vertically in a rice bowl looks very much like the incense sticks that are burned for the dead. This is a powerful sign and is not appreciated anywhere in Asia. Like the Chinese and Japanese, Vietnamese strictly maintain clean floors, and it's usual to remove shoes when entering somebody's home. It's rude to point the bottom of your feet toward other people. Never ever point your feet towards anything sacred, such as a Buddha image. As a form of respect to elderly or other esteemed people, such as monks, take off your hat and bow your head politely when addressing them. In Asia, the head is the symbolic high point. Never pat or touch an adult on their head. Vietnamese cuisine is simple. Many of the most popular dishes can be made just as well on the side of the road as in top-end restaurants, which means that eating well in Vietnam is easy and inexpensive. The following are some of the most popular dishes. Pho. It's almost impossible to walk a block in Vietnam's major cities without bumping into a crowd of hungry patrons slurping noodles at a makeshift pho stand. This simple staple consisting of salty broth, fresh rice noodles, a sprinkling of herbs, and chicken or beef features predominantly in the local diet. Char Kar. Hanoians consider Char Kar to be so exceptional that there is a street in the capital dedicated to these fried morsels of fish. This namesake alley is home to Char Kar La Vong, which serves sizzling chunks of fish seasoned with garlic, ginger, turmeric, and a dill on a hot pan table side. We then have Bang Zao. It's a crispy crepe bulging with pork, shrimp, and bean sprouts, plus the garnish of fresh herbs that are characteristic of most authentic Vietnamese dishes. Now, one of my personal favourites, and a little bit of a melting pot of cuisines is the chow lao. This pork noodle dish from Hoi An is a bit like the various cultures that visited the trading port at its prime. The thicker noodles are similar to Japanese udon. The crispy wonton crackers and pork are a Chinese touch, while the broth and herbs are clearly Vietnamese. We then have ramu, which is often referred to as morning glory, usually stir-fried and seasoned with slivers of potent garlic. Something we've all tried in some way, shape or form is the nem rang, or in the north, the chow gao. It's Vietnam's bite-sized, crunchy spring roll. It's got a crispy shell with a soft veggie and meat fillings dunked in tangy sauce. Bun bo hua, central Vietnam's take on noodles, caters to carnivores with its meaty broth and piles of beef and pork, so a little bit like pho. The thick, slippery rice noodles also make for a heartier meal than noodles found in the north and the south. And then we have bang no. This dainty variation of pancake has a crunchy outside made using coconut milk, and the filling usually consists of shrimp, mung beans, and spring onions, with a dusting of dried shrimp flakes on top. Vietnam is a destination in itself, but there are so many destinations to visit. So we're going to take you on a quick highlight from north to south on some places not to be missed. Sapa, established as a hill station by the French in 1922, Sapa today is the tourism centre of the northwest. Sapa is orientated to make the most of the spectacular views emerging on clear days, overlooking a plunging valley with mountains towering above on all sides. Views of this epic scenery are often subdued by thick mist rolling across the peaks, but even when it's cloudy, local hill tribe people fill the town with colour. But travellers don't come to Sapa to explore the town. Sapa is northern Vietnam's premier trekking base, from where hikers launch themselves into a surrounding countryside of cascading rice terraces and tiny hill tribe villages that seem a world apart. The lush fields of Sapa are the real charm, and the best time to visit is March through to June and September through to October. A great way to get to Sapa is from Hanoi, the capital. The charming capital has aged fairly well, preserving the old quarter, monuments and colonial architecture while making room for modern developments. There's lakes, parks, shady boulevards and more than 600 temples and pagodas added to the appeal of this city. Getting around the city can be quite an ordeal sometimes, but meet a local, jump on a motorbike or get on a rickshaw and off you go. But always remember to use the sticky rice technique when you're crossing the road. Hot and humid in summer Hanoi and cool and dry in winter, we highly recommend a guided tour to get the hang of getting around the city. Hanoi is a year-round destination though. Hot and humid as we touched and cool and dry. If you head northwest, you head out towards Sapa. If you head out northeast, you head out towards Halong Bay from Hanoi. This is a place not to be missed. It's a place at Halong Bay you need to spend at least a night or two out on a junk or a boat similar to a junk to what you can see on the screen right now. Travellers visit stunning Halong Bay for its amazing limestone islands, rock formations and caves. Whittled away over centuries by wind and water, they simply are breathtaking. Here you'll be able to rent a kayak or a junk for a day or two, or maybe, as we suggested, overnight for sure. Here you'll be able to visit tiny villages. Now, Halong Bay is a 4-hour drive from Hanoi, so best not try to attempt it as a day trip. Even though that is possible, we strongly suggest against that. Best time to visit Halong Bay is March through to June and September through to October. We now move further south, down to Hue. It's clustered around the picturesque Perfume River, which splits the city in two. The city blends new and old as sleek modern hotels tower over crumbling century-old citadel walls. There are endless must-see historic sites, especially those that are UNESCO World Heritage designated, although many have been destroyed during the American-Vietnam War. Sightseeing can include the ornate Imperial Citadel, colourful Tang Tong Bridge, the Royal Tombs, and let's not forget about the Forbidden Purple City. What you'll find is that the best time to visit Hue is January through to August. October and November often bring the heavier rains. Not too far from Hue is Hoi An, referred to as the Venice of Vietnam. Hoi An is a must-see. It is located on Vietnam's central coast, and is known for its well-preserved old town, which is cut through with canals, as we can see here. The former port city's melting pot history is reflected in its architecture, a mix of eras and styles from wooden Chinese shophouses and temples to colourful French colonial buildings. There's also ornate Vietnamese tube houses and, of course, the ever-popular iconic Japanese covered bridge with its pagoda, which you can see here. Definitely a place to get a photo or two. On the 14th day of each lunar month, the town trades its electric lights for iconic traditional coloured lanterns, which make great souvenirs. Let the town's expert tailors make you some bespoke clothing. So we often say in the centre of Vietnam to spend at least 2 to 3 nights. And if you are looking at getting some clothing made, get it done on the first day because it will take 24 to 48 hours to be made up. However, we continue our journey further south. Nha Trang, the high-rise, high-energy beach resort. It enjoys a stunning setting, ringed by a necklace of hills with a sweeping crescent beach. The city's turquoise bay is dotted with tropical islands. The shoreline has had a huge makeover in recent years, with quiet parks and sculptured gardens spread along the impressive promenade, while the streets inland reveal quirky boutiques and a cosmopolitan array of dining options. As restaurants wind down, nightlife cranks up. Central Nha Trang is a party town at heart. There are more relaxed activities on offer though. The beachfront has quiet open bars. Visitors can try an old-school spa treatment with a visit to a mud bath or explore century-old Cham Towers still standing in the town centre. The best time to visit Nha Trang is February through to August. We now move on to Dalat. This is typically not Vietnamese. The weather is spring-like, cool instead of tropical heat. The town is dotted with elegant French colonial villas, and the farms around are thick with strawberries and flowers, not rice. The French came here first, escaping the heat of Saigon. They left behind not only their vacation villas, but also the vibe of a European town. The Vietnamese couldn't resist adding little touches to enhance Dalat's natural beauty, whether it's the Eiffel Tower-shaped radio tower, the horse-drawn carriages, or the zealously colourful heart-shaped cutouts at the Valley of Love. This is a town for those who love romance. It's La Petite Paris, the honeymoon capital and the city of eternal spring, all rolled into one. For travellers, the moderate climate makes it a superb place for adrenaline-fueled activities, making Dalat the action capital of Vietnam. Dalat is lovely all year round. Now, a place that I did not know about before travelling to Vietnam and visiting a friend in Ho Chi Minh City was Phu Quoc, and I tell you what, it delivered. Phu Quoc is a Vietnamese island off the coast of Cambodia in the Gulf of Thailand. It's known for white sand beaches and resorts, most of which are along the palm-lined southwest coast. More than half of the island is part of Phu Quoc National Park, which features mountains, dense tropical jungle, hiking trails, and wildlife. Phu Quoc Island is home to several contenders for the title of Best Southeast Asian Beach, such as the sophisticated Long Beach, romantic Ong Lang Beach, and all-round amazing Bai Sao. Cloaking the impossible white sand beaches is verdant jungle, which imparts the feeling of being a castaway, despite the comforts of civilization being so close by. October through to June, so realistically, the majority of the year are the best times to visit Phu Quoc. We now arrive into Ho Chi Minh City, Saigon. This city boasts charming French colonial architecture and wide boulevards, usually choked with motorcycle traffic. However, there is so many great sights to be seen. The War Remnants Museum shows the Vietnam War through the Vietnamese eyes. Don't miss the impressive Jade Emperor Pagoda. Go to the frenetic Ben Tang market for food, flowers, or frogs, but get ready to bargain mightily. And don't forget and take a tour to the Mekong Delta, past rice paddies, houseboats, and small villages. Saigon is comfortable all year round, although afternoon showers can be common from May to November. So we've just shown you sort of the hot spots to visit in Vietnam. We're now going to show you what can be obtained for 10 days, 9 nights for approximately a little bit under $2,000 per person. The great thing about what we're going to show you now is if you chat to your travel advisor, they can customize this to exactly what you need. Maybe you're looking at a 4-star property, a 5-star property, a name brand hotel or a boutique hotel. Maybe you're looking for a certain activity, a certain cooking class. Your travel advisor would be able to make this as seamless as possible. So here we go. 10 days, 9 nights in Vietnam. Now, we're going to start day 1 in the south, okay, arriving into Ho Chi Minh City, okay, Saigon Airport. On arrival, you'll be then transferred to your hotel. In regards to the package that we're setting up, just for the price point here, is the Majestic Saigon. It's a 5-star Colonial Deluxe Hotel, where you'll be spending 3 nights. As you can see, there's very much a French influence running throughout the hotel, be it in the common areas, but also in your room as well. Once you've got settled into your hotel on day 1, you then have the rest of the afternoon at leisure. Now, that might mean exploring the city. That might mean just relaxing at the hotel. It might mean getting a massage. It's really up to you. On day 2, getting up nice and early in the morning and heading off and doing a sightseeing tour, highlights tour in and around Ho Chi Minh City. And that will take in many of the most important sites in and around Ho Chi Minh. Now, that will include Notre Dame Cathedral, established by French colonialists who initially named it the Church of Saigon. The cathedral was constructed around about 1860. It is definitely an example of French colonial architecture in Vietnam, and you'll also see that at the Opera House as well. We then have the City Hall, which you'll visit. Now, this was built around about 1902 through to 1908 in a French colonial style as well. So you will see that French colonial style running throughout all of the city. You'll also have a chance to visit the Central Post Office and then, of course, visit the markets. The market is one of the earliest surviving structures in Saigon and an important symbol of the city. Ben Thanh Market is a famous destination for many local and foreign tourists from all around the world. Following that, you'll then return to the hotel and you have the afternoon of leisure. And that, yet again, will let you relax at the hotel, sightsee, or maybe you've taken another activity that your travel advisor has set up for you. And then from there, day 3, we're getting out of the city and we're heading down into the Mekong Delta for a day trip. You will head off to a Mekong Delta orchard first of all. Now, the rambutan is native to Southeast Asia. It is closely related to several other edible tropical fruits, which include the lychee, longgong, pulasan, and also the memonchilio. So here you'll have an opportunity to walk in the orchard, talk to the owner, and find about all the tropical fruits in this region. Following that, it's a chance to explore. So that's when you'll jump on your bike and you'll do a bit of bike riding in and around the Mekong Delta, so to speak. From there, you'll actually get off and learn how to climb a coconut tree, how people go about getting the fruits from the top of these trees. And then it's out on the Mekong itself. Here you'll learn about the life of the Mekong, how people trade flowers, fish, vegetables, various types of meats, fish and also red meats as well. And this will all be done in and around the river system. You'll see people cooking up lunches and that and serving that to various vendors in and around the waterways as well. And then it's back to the hotel in Ho Chi Minh City. Early morning, arrive, jump up in the morning early, and then you'll fly up to Hue, the central area of Vietnam. Once arriving into Hue, you're going to then go and visit a number of the most famous sites, and one of those would be the Imperial Citadel. You would also have an opportunity to explore the Citadel and get some great iconic shots here before heading off to the Tai Hoa Palace as well. This is the heart of Hue Imperial Citadel. This is the most notable place to visit in Hue, and this is definitely something not to be missed. Whilst you're here, you'll also see the halls of the mandarins and the 9 dynastic urns. The giant urns honor 9 Nhung dynasty rulers, with the largest and most elaborate at the center, dedicated to Gyeong Long, founder of the Nhung dynasty. And then you'll also have an opportunity to finish the afternoon off by visiting the Antiquities Museum, where you'll see some of the most famous artifacts that have been preserved here in Vietnam. From there, it's off to the hotel, and for this package and for the price point, we've looked at the Pilgrimage Village Hotel. You'll have a nice warm welcome, and then you can just relax at the hotel in the afternoon. What you'll love about this property, it definitely gives you that quintessential Vietnamese feel. From the common spaces in the restaurants to the rooms where you'll put your head at the end of the day, you'll feel like that you're in a little piece of paradise in the central parts of Vietnam. Day 5, jump up early in the morning and you're off to visit the Mu Pagoda. Okay, this is an historic temple in the city of Hue. Its iconic 7-story pagoda is regarded as the unofficial symbol of the city, and the temple has often been the subject of folk rhymes and also tells you the story of yesteryear of this region. The pagoda sits on the Ha Kat Hill in the ward of Halong Bay in Hue. From here, you're then going to go on the Hai Van Pass, which is approximately 15 miles along the mountain pass on National Route 1A. You're going to go past areas such as Langkow Beach, through the city of Da Nang, and then you arrive into Hoi An. This afternoon, Hoi An, you'll have an opportunity to do a walking tour, and you'll have an opportunity then at night to maybe buy a lantern or two and just explore the city on foot. Day 7, jump up nice and early, make your way to the airport, and you fly then up to Hanoi. Arrive into Hanoi, and then you'll be taken on a half-day city sites tour. Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam, is known for its century-old architecture and a rich culture with Southeast Asia, Chinese, and also much of a French influence as well. At its heart is a chaotic old quarter, where the narrow streets are roughly arranged by trade. There are many little temples, including Bac Ma, honouring a legendary horse, plus Dong Yang Market, selling household goods and street food. Train Street is an attraction that seems to have gotten momentum and exposure since the age of Instagram. The street got its English name from the fact that it's a street with the backs of buildings and homes facing either side, but instead of a road, it has train tracks. Several times a day, between 7 a.m. and 8 p.m. on weekdays, and more sporadically throughout the weekend days, a train passes down the street, and it will pass only inches from your face. Lots of people look up at the train times and stick around to watch. When the train isn't passing by, Train Street has a nice perspective to it that lots of people like to take photos of. In recent years, the locals whose home face the tracks have turned their bottom floors into cafes and bars, so you can enjoy an egg coffee, smoothie or beer while you wait for the train to pass. It's a lot of fun and provides an interesting alternative to sitting on a traditional type of street. One of the most famous buildings in Hanoi is 87 Mai Ma Street. Built at the start of the 19th century, the old house at number 87 is one of the oldest houses in Hanoi, built in the old pipe-shaped architecture. Then, for your first night in Hanoi, you'll be staying at the Hotel de l'Opera Hanoi. This property definitely makes sure that you feel like you're on holidays. Get well rested, because on day 8, yet again, you're going to be up nice and early and you're going to be taken off to Halong Bay. Once you arrive into Halong Bay, you'll board your vessel where you'll spend the next 24 to 48 hours. On arrival onto the vessel, you'll have a welcome drink. You'll have some lunch included as well, and then you'll be escorted to your room. Here you'll spend the next 24 to 48 hours, but I can guarantee you won't spend much time in your room, because you'll want to be out on the deck taking in the beautiful sights as you cruise in and around Halong Bay, taking in areas such as Trong Mai Inlet, Nong Thai Inlet, and then the Kong Kok Islet as well. Discovering the history and the beauty of this region will be at the forefront at the Floating Cultural Centre, which you'll have a chance to explore. But the day doesn't finish there, as you'll have an opportunity to jump in your own kayak and go and explore Halong Bay. Before the day ends, you'll be off into the cave system, and then there will also be a little bit of time for you to do a little bit of relaxation in the beautiful waters of this region. Back on board your vessel that night, you'll have a cooking demonstration. And then early on day 9, start the day with a Tai Chi lesson. You'll then continue your journey back to the mainland, going past various islands along the way. Of course, you'll also see how people have survived out here in the fishing villages, floating on the waters in and around Halong Bay. You'll arrive back, and then it's a 4-hour journey back to your hotel, where you arrive late afternoon, early evening. Day 10, you'll have to say goodbye to Vietnam, and you'll be off on your next journey throughout Southeast Asia, or maybe your journey back to the United States. So that package was just an idea to show you how much can be done in Vietnam on a great value for money type of itinerary that your travel advisor would be able to set up for you. You're looking at going to areas such as Saigon, Mekong Delta, Hue, Hoi An, Hanoi, and Halong Bay, and it's under $2,000 per person for all of your accommodation, your transfers and that. All you need to add on to that would be your internal flights. So your travel advisor would be able to help for that. Of course, the question that probably is on the tip of everybody's tongue is, oh, John, we love Vietnam. It looks amazing. I want to book it with my travel advisor. What's happening with COVID, the coronavirus? Well, at the moment, Vietnam has handled it very well. Countries around the world, obviously, numbers are skyrocketing, but Vietnam seems to have it relatively under control. Things change, obviously, but as of yesterday, they had confirmed infections of 847, recovered cases of a little bit over 400, and they only had 15 deaths. Now, that's all since the first confirmed case of COVID-19 appeared in Vietnam on January the 23rd. Since March 22, the country's borders have been closed to foreign travellers, and only Vietnamese nationals, foreigners, and those on diplomatic business have been able to arrive into Vietnam. Anyone entering Vietnam will need to undergo medical checks and 14-day quarantine upon arrival. So at the moment, keeping it quite simple, Vietnam is in lockdown, and it's just opened up to, the domestic market in Vietnam. As I touched on, I have a good friend who lives in Ho Chi Minh City. He said life has sort of gone back to normality within reason. Obviously, people are wearing masks and people are out and about. From what we know, and this is just reading various information from tourism boards and updated information, they are hoping that they may be able to open up in the last quarter of this year. However, what I would be suggesting, if you are considering looking at booking a trip to Southeast Asia, and specifically Vietnam, I'd be looking at the first couple of months in the new year, which works perfectly because that's the best time of year to go to Vietnam as well, January, February, March, April. Now, as we all know, this is changing day by day, and things may change and they say, hey, Vietnam's open back up. But what we're sort of hearing, the whispers, as they say, is that maybe in the last quarter of this year, so maybe October, November, December. However, we're starting to think, let's look at January, February, March, April. We feel more confident about going to Vietnam. But as we all know, things change and there's no certainty with anything with COVID-19 at the moment. So keep that handy. But hey, when we do start thinking of booking trips anywhere around the world, doesn't matter when it was, even if we go back, a year ago, I would find most people book their international trip, 3 to 6 months in advance. So this is a perfect time to start considering and getting at least a quote organised and getting information and just finding out more about the destination, be it Vietnam or anywhere else in Southeast Asia. There were many questions that came through, so I'll endeavour to answer some of those right now. Dana, yeah, the bridge is absolutely amazing. It's one of those. It's like an iconic shot. You go to Paris, you get one of the Eiffel Tower. You go to Sydney, you get one of the Opera House, and that's the same with the Japanese bridge in the central part of Vietnam as well. What are the lanterns made of? It's just like the paper, like a paper mache, Dana, the one that I bought. Obviously, there are different designs, but if you just get a basic one. We did touch on the COVID there. Someone asked about COVID a little bit of halfway through, but we touched on that at the end. Does a hot coffee in Vietnamese coffee cook the egg yolk? Basically, yeah. I can't taste it because once you mix it all up and you have a little condensed milk in there and some, strong coffee, away you go. But I can tell you what, it does give you a buzz early in the morning. Do you need any shots? No, you don't need any shots. I always say contact your travel doctor before going, but I've been to Vietnam a couple of times, well, more than a couple of times, and I've never had any shots. And in regards to visas and that, it's realistically, as long as you've got a passport that is valid for 6 months and you've got a couple of spare pages in it, away you go, and you just have to, and you should be right to go. Perfect. So there were a few other little questions just asking for some basic information. Then I'll cover up with an email moving forward for any of those questions that I may have missed. So thank you for that. Of course, I would like to say yet again, just thank you very much for all of our travel advisors for coming along today. You add so much to all of the experiences, all the presentations that Jeff and I give, and we'd like to say thank you very much for sharing and these details with your potential clients, your friends, your families, and just showing them the options that are available. Hopefully we'll be all out there traveling again soon. I know many of you will have tuned in just prior to this presentation with Jeff Adam, our Director of Sales. He's actually in Tahiti. So places are opening up. Things are happening. You can book trips anywhere across the world at the moment. And as I said, Jeff's now down in Tahiti doing a fact-finding mission. And he just did a live Facebook event, and if anyone wants to know about that, especially for our travel advisors, check out our destination specialist page, and you'll be able to see the recording of that as well. So please check that out. We're trying to keep up as much information as possible to all of our travel advisors on what's opening and what the requirements are, because as you know, it is literally it's like a tennis ball at the moment. It continues to move, and hopefully we're going to make the best shot moving forward so we can all start traveling again. Of course, our virtual vacations will continue. And next week, we're heading to where I was born, well, close enough to, Sydney. Virtual vacation in Sydney, the gateway to New South Wales. I would almost guarantee, without even looking at the figures, 95 to 99% of people who go to Australia at some point will end up in Sydney. And it's a place definitely not to be missed. It has some iconic structures such as the Opera House, the Harbour Bridge that you can see here right on your screen right now. So join us next week. Talk to your travel advisor. They'll be able to give you the link to the presentation, and we'll be here next Thursday. Have a great day. Stay kind to one another, and I look forward to speaking to you soon. Bye for now.